Hello YouTube, how y'all doing? Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Happy New Year. I don't usually have resolutions, I just do. You know, I feel like resolutions are for children. Like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Me, I just do it. You know, like so yesterday, I guess, you know, for all of us, we subscribe to different channels. And I just realized that one particular one, I think I told y'all about her. Her name is Irene, but her name on YouTube is Renee Beauties. Now, her videos are entertaining, but when I started to notice, like, somebody else has said it too, they're negative. Like, she never has a man. She never talks about nothing but guys that she talks to on the internet or dates and it don't go well. And what I started to notice is that's her whole channel. And now she's starting to be racist and talking negative about African American men. And I wanted to briefly talk about that. Let's uplift each other. Let's not tear each other down. And don't get sucked into the agenda. There's an agenda to divide the black community. And I don't know why Africans, the funny thing is, she's African American herself because her parents are African, but she was born and raised here. And she uses all the lingo and all the or whatever. But a real African that's born, this is what people don't understand. When you're born and raised in America, if you go back to your country, they're not going to like you. And I can say that because my ex that was Trini, I told y'all about, he was born and raised in Trinidad, and even when he would go back, they would reject him. They call him Yankee boy, whatever. So it's interesting to me how you have people that have never been to their country, but they put down Americans so bad. And to me, that's self-hate. And I wanted to make that PSA announcement. If you're born and raised here and you go back to your country, they're not going to receive you. Go ahead and try it. Because once they hear that Yankee accent or the lingo that you use, like, they're not going to receive you. So that's why I don't understand how anybody like her, you even got, you know, some people that they mama and daddy is Haitian, but they born and raised here. The way they dress, they don't dress like Haitians. Nothing they do is of their culture, but they'll sit down and put down American culture. And I think they getting that from their parents. They have to be, because it don't make you putting down yourself. You born and raised in this country. You're American, whether you like it or not. So you're more American than you are where your parents are from, and that's just the true facts. You know, like my great grandparents are from St. Kitts, but my grandmother and her sisters and her siblings, they did not adapt to the St. Kitts culture. They are more American than anything. And so we're not a part of the culture at all. You know, so people always ask me where you're from, and I'd be like, yeah, my great grandparents, but we're not a part of the culture. It's not like we could go back to St. Kitts and they gonna receive us. We're Yankees. Like, like they don't even, it's funny because like my mom and them, they don't even eat West Indian food. I eat West Indian food. You know, they refuse to eat West Indian food. They say it's too spicy or whatever. But I said all that to say this. There's an agenda to divide us as a people. I don't care if you're from Africa. I don't care if you're from Jamaica. Wherever you are, you're still black. So stop the madness, right? So she said something that was very offensive. And I usually don't get offended. But don't talk about our men. Just because you can't get... Now, let me give you some background about this girl. And it's not about gossiping or nothing, but I'm just letting y'all know. This girl is obese. I'm not throwing shade at people that's obese, but she is. And she is not pretty. Like, it's not even because of her weight, because there's plenty of big girls that's pretty, like Monique, whatever. And there's plenty of big girls that are pretty, but she is just not pretty. She's not. She doesn't get any attention from men in her. And she made mention of that. She's like, well, why do men don't comment on her thing unless if they saying something negative, because somebody made mention of it. Like, all your content and videos is negative. So yes, you're going to get a negative response. And the funny thing is, she'll make a video and then she'll say it. Oh, what do y'all think? Whatever. Comment, like, and subscribe. So it's like, if you know you're doing the right thing, why are you asking people? So then I started to think, well, what I noticed with my channel, I'm very diverse. Like, I put up a cooking thing yesterday, right? I went to the Museum of Illusions, right? I put that up. I go to concerts, I put that up. I talk about men, I talk about anything on my channel. And I am not monetized yet. I'm not. I have 750 subscribers. I'm not really fiending to be like, because what I notice is that everybody who's monetized, their content is negative. So if I gotta be negative to be monetized, I don't need to be monetized. I want to encourage people and I want to be positive. And I talked about my exes to warn people. I don't do it to degrade men at all. So she said something to the effect of, she said, Black American men don't provide. And that is a complete lie. Let me explain something. And these are the facts, okay? Black American men, or just men in general, they're not going to provide for you unless if you're their girlfriend or wife. And I think that's a little common sense. She, according to her stories, right? This is someone who, most of us, we tell our business online, but for her, I was watching her off and on for about 3-4 years. I've been watching her for a while now, since the pandemic, I feel like. So when she was 25, she said she never been on a date, which means she's never had a boyfriend, right? She mentioned of having a boyfriend in high school, but he never took her on a date. So common sense, if a nigga never take you out on a date, y'all are not boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, I knew that I remember when I was in high school and I had a friend from church, and she was just dumb when it came to life. Like, she was smart in the books, but she was just, her and her friend she had an African friend. So I don't know if it's a culture thing, because like my friend, her parents were from Trinidad. And then her friend, I think her friend was born in Africa but raised here. But I think in certain cultures, like, I don't know if it's they don't believe in going out on dates or they don't really know about dating. But in America, we go out on dates. Like, my mother always went out on dates. Like, she always told me little things about dating. I had to learn things on my own because we're obviously two different women from two different generations. So my mom's thing is, you're never supposed to pay for nothing ever. So like, my mom is very old school. Not even, there's women her age that will pay bills, but my mom don't believe in that. Like, my mom has never paid bills. My father provided always. My uncle provides always for his wife, and those are their dream girls. My father chased my mother for 10 years. That was his dream girl, and I wanted to talk about that. So when Black men who don't provide, it's because of a few things. Either you telling too much, or the way you come off as somebody that nobody wants. I wanted to talk just briefly. So with my ex, the mistake that I made is I told him way too much stuff. So I had told him about a guy that I was seeing in 2016. We only was together like 2 months. But when he was listening to what I was saying, he felt like, oh, well, he didn't really do much for you monetarily, so why should I? And men think like that, regardless if they good or not. Like, even my homeboy who was married, his wife never went out on dates before him. So he feels like, well, why should I pay for the whole date? And she's never even been on a date. She made the mistake of telling him that guys wasn't taking her out on no date. She made the mistake for that. But what I notice is, if you tell a guy, yo, I'm used to this certain type of treatment, they will fall in line. That's what I do notice. So when she's saying, oh, Black men don't provide, or whatever, African American men don't provide, they're gonna go off of your energy and how you present yourself or whatever. Like, they just not, first of all, with African American men, let's keep it real, a lot of women want to be with them of all races. You always see a African American man with a white girl, Asian, whatever. They can have any woman that they want. And let's keep it real, African men, they not really on demand like that. Now, I hung out with an African guy about once or twice from my college, Medgar Evers, and he was cute. He was the exception. But when you think about an African man and you see them, they not the most attractive thing walking around. Let's just keep it real. Let's just keep it a buck. They not really on demand like that. So an African man, I could see him probably sending money, because this is the situation. So she wanted this guy that she have never met to send her money. And it's like, that's not realistic. Like, like I said, this girl, when she takes her makeup off, no comment. But, and a lot of people have told her, like, you're not what men desire or want. So you can't, she has all these standards because what she's gone through and been through. And I get it. I totally get it. But an African man, even if an African man is the ugliest, it don't even matter of the race of man. I just feel like there's no man that's going to send a woman money he never met, unless if she looks like Marilyn Monroe or Beyonce or something. And even then he's going to be skeptical, because it's like, because she said that they never spoke on the phone. She said how he was texting her, but he never called. So the problem is not that he didn't send money. He wasn't spending time. It was 3 weeks. She said it too, how he didn't make moves to go on a date while, right? And this boy was African American, so that's why she said that. But he not gonna send you money not because he's African American. Like, his race has nothing to do with it. It's the fact of he don't know you. He's never met you, so why should he send you money and he haven't even met you? Like, and then my whole thing is, you never should ever ask a man to do anything, because they get turned, even if you are their girlfriend, right? And I wanted to touch base on that. Let's say if the mistake I made, it's Valentine's Day coming up, right? And you getting on his case about, oh, I want a teddy bear, oh, I want this, oh, I want that. You shouldn't even have to say that, because it should be in his heart to do something for you. You shouldn't even have to ask for that. He should want to do it because you're his girlfriend, right? So, men do according to how they feel. And with my ex, I remember he told me how he used to spoil the chick before me, and she didn't work and stuff like that, whatever. But you know why he spoiled her? Because she had another nigga doing it. So he wanted to show her he could do the same thing. When you have other dudes and other options, as crazy as this sounds, that's when they respect it. That's when, like, even with my ex, he said how he observed how the day we met, it was other guys trying to talk to me, and that's what made him want to talk to me. As crazy as high school as that sounds, he saw that other men were interested in me, and he took an interest. He wanted to, and he also found out from his brother that basically the majority of the job tried to get with me, and I turned everybody down. So he didn't try to get with me because he actually liked me. It was a competition for him, low key. Because if he was really, and I could be truthful enough to say, if my ex was actually interested in me, he would have provided. But I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, all career, because he was Trinidadian, born and raised. Oh, Trinidadian men don't provide. No, he provides, just not for me. He just didn't like me. Like, and you know what I'm saying? And I used to, this particular girl, she calls herself Renee Beauties. she kept it real. She used to be so honest, and that's what people liked about her. And now she's starting to lie. And so that's why I wanted to know, like, you gotta front. If I gotta front and lie for my viewers, I don't want to be monetized. YouTube, I hope y'all hear that. If I gotta constantly have negative stuff on my channel to get monetized, then this is not for me. Because that what I'm starting to notice, and I unsubscribed my New Year's. I was like, this is a new year. I unsubscribed from her channel because all her shit is negative. Like, all of it is negative. It was entertaining, but now it's like, now you want to talk about black men, I gotta cut you loose, because now she's probably gonna get on their case more so she can get monetized. Because I'm like, she never said no stuff like that. She never came out her face like that. And it's like, that is a turn off to me, because I'm African American, so of course I'm gonna get offended, because it's not true. Like, my father is a provider, my uncle is a provider. I've had guys that did for me, like my ex from the military. He always made sure I was good. You know what I'm saying? So it's the way you present yourself, and if you're their dream girl, basically. And that's for any man. That has nothing to do with being African American. And then my whole thing with her is, you've never been nobody's girlfriend. You've never had a boyfriend. You just, being intimate and going out on dates. And you just started going out on dates 2 years ago, because when you were 25, this girl is 27. When she was 25, she made a video and she said she never been on a date. She said that out her own mouth. So now that she's going out on dates now, you have all these unusual expectations, and I get it. I totally get it, because you have men, this is my experience, you could meet them today and they'll ask you for money. So her asking him for money, I guess she feel like, well, I'm a beat them to the punch, because niggas do it, so why not? So I get her mentality, but at the same time, don't say no shit like black men don't provide, because black men do provide. But they go and provide with somebody who look good, somebody who they want to be with. First of all, you just can't be talking and they go and send money. Like, no, because you know why? Black men have options. Like, girls be on you could have the ugliest black American man. Guess what? He could get him a white girl. He can get him an Asian. He can get him a black girl. And that's why I say, being with an American black man, is an honor, because they could be with anybody. And those are the facts. If you come to New York City, baby, our men are with any race, and they could choose to be with any race. So if they with you, be happy. I'm not saying that you should be kissing their butt if they, treat you like dirt. But what I am saying is, they are on demand, and those are the facts. If they not from the bush and they got some education and a good job, women are gonna flock to them. Even if they don't have no job. The fact that they just black, women just love it. Okay? Now, Asian men, they don't really have those options. Let's keep it real. White men, yes. White men are the other men that kind of, you see them with different races too. You do. But yeah, black men are on demand. Let's keep it real. So if just in general, with those of us who have no problem with the opposite sex, why would you settle? You're not gonna do certain things because you don't have to do certain things, right? You get used to a certain caliber of dudes, and it's like, like you have some women that's like, oh, go be with the guy who don't have his stuff together and da 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 da. No, I don't have to put up with that, because I'm used to guys who have their stuff together, right? I'm not perfect, but I do have my own place. I do have a job. So I'm not going to get with somebody who don't have a job. That's like kind of common sense, right? Right? But I can't stress that enough. Ladies, anybody out there that have a channel, stop putting down black men, because when you put down black men, you're putting down yourself. I'm going to repeat that again. When you put down black men, you are putting down yourself, right? She don't even realize she putting down herself, because mamas, you was born and raised here, which means you are African American now. So you talk about African American men are no good. You ain't no good. Because when you point at somebody, 3 more fingers is coming back at you. Look at that. 3 more fingers is coming back at you, right? So, and then it's not just her. There's a lady on Instagram. I'm mad I forgot her name. But she's married to a black man, and all she does is talk down to black men. And I was thinking about unsubscribing or unfollowing her, because all you do is talk down about black men, but you're married to a black man. And underneath her caption is single mother. She's not a single mother, but her content is for single mothers. And I don't understand that. Like, whatever. But watch out for the agenda. Stop supporting these people that's talking down about our people, because the agenda is to divide. I don't know if y'all know this, but amongst our race of people, we talk down about our people the most, and it's disgusting. I would never get up on this channel and start saying negative things about black men. I come from a black man, and I love black men. Not black boys, men. And when I say by men, men who provide. Men who don't have a problem with paying for a date. If you have an issue with paying for a date, obviously you don't like me. Like, right? Or you have some men who feel like, oh, you know, whatever. They was not raised by a man. And it shows. A man is supposed to technically provide. Now, the economy is bad. Yes. But sometimes you have to go 50-50. But at the end of the day, you are the leader of the household. You are the man. I have a friend of mine who she's married, and she's like, well, sometimes you got to lead these men because they don't know. No, that's unnatural. If you're a Christian, God's way is not for you to lead your man and tell him what to do. He's supposed to lead and guide you. And we need to get back into biblical. There's some scriptures in the Bible I don't agree with, but when it comes to marriage and the man being head of household, that I do agree with. Okay, we need to start getting back into the position of men and what they're supposed to be doing in the household and in the church. That's the problem. You go to church and it's either women running the church or a bunch of feminine men. God is not in that. God is God is not with that. He's not. That's not godly. If you go to a church and it's all, and that's the problem with women and being in control of the church. They're supposed to assist in the church. They're not supposed to be in control. The man is supposed to be the leader. That doesn't, and what's happened in the black community is that women aren't women. And then you have women that are married and they're in control of their household. That is unnatural. I want a man that could lead me, that could say, guess what? This is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to do. And that's led by God. Because you have men that take control and they don't know their left from their right. They're facing eviction because they don't know how to govern their finances. So you don't want a man like that either, right? My prayer is that a man sends me a husband where I don't mind helping out, but he should have enough sense to budget. You know what I'm saying? Like, it should never be a time when we're facing eviction because you don't know how to pay rent on time. Because at that point, for me, I will file for divorce, because that doesn't make any sense. I'm a single woman for 13 years almost, and I've never went through that. I pay my rent on time, whatever. So imagine me getting with a man and he don't know how to pay his bills on time, like I told y'all with my ex, and this is not shaming him, but I would never want a husband like that, because you don't know how to govern your finances. You don't know how to manage money. Your credit score is 300. You cannot be a husband, because What could you teach me? You know what I'm saying? Credit is very important. But I said all that. I said a lot. Let's encourage our black men. Anytime you see something negative on the social media, ignore it, because going back and forth with people doesn't help. I actually sent her a positive email because I think the main reason why I subscribed to her, because she would talk about God. So I sent her a encouraging email. She never read it out loud. When she does story time for her people, it's always like juicy or like about a bad relationship. And I sent her a story that I guess was kind of boring. I sent her a story about what I went through with a bootleg play. So I guess that's not going to sell, or that's not going to get views. And in the paragraph I sent her encouraging words like, oh, whatever, keep having your standards. So I guess she just read it and then she doesn't want to say it out loud because it's positive. And I'm starting to notice that, like, you got to be negative to be monetized. That's an agenda of the enemy. It really is. And I'm not going to say the white man, because at the end of the day, you are in control of your channel, folks. You are in control of your channel. We have the opportunity to speak our mind, and I choose to speak positivity and peace. So some people might look at my channel and think it's boring, because I'm not going to be talking about negative stuff all the time. The most negative stuff you're going to get out of me is about my exes, but then I'm going to talk about positive stuff too, right? I'm not going to always dwell on the negative. So, and that's what people were saying to her, like, you're complaining that people are saying negative comments, but you're putting out negative content. So of course people are going to react. That's very negative to say African American men don't provide. No, they don't provide for you because you're not the girlfriend. Why would somebody provide for somebody they're not with? That, to me, that don't make no sense. Like, who does that? Regardless if you American or not. Like, who does that? Now, some men do that. I feel like men who do that, they have low self-esteem and must not get girls, because why would you do that? Right? Why would you provide for a girl that's not your girl? Right? Like, why would you send money to... Now, paying for dates is one thing. Yeah. You know, it's different if she actually was in a relationship with an African American man and then you say, oh, they're cheap. And even then, that's just the men you're with. But that I can understand because you had your little experience, right? But you can't speak for the whole race of men, because they didn't provide for you while you were going out on dates. Like, you literally never had a relationship. And so you're speaking negative about a whole race of people. And somebody, I think it was a guy he wrote like 3 comments. He was like, I hope you see this, because this is why you don't have no... Like, some people was going in on her. I did not go in on her, right? I was actually giving her words of advice. Like, I totally understand your standards, because these men out here will have no hesitation of asking you for money. I've been through that in my younger days. When I was 18, we didn't go out on no date. He lied about his age. That was the first guy that lied to me about his age. And I was 18 and I had just completed my first semester of college. And I had left and came back, finally graduated almost 3 years ago. But, you know, he lied and said he did construction, and he said that he would get his check that week, and he asked me for $20. He didn't know me for long, but he realized, oh, I have a job, so I got money. So his intention was to use me. So it happens. You do have young men out here. Now, some people might say, oh, well, he was 17, so... And I was completely turned off, because I'm like, I'm 18, I'm a grown woman, I just completed my first semester of college and I got a full-time job, and you lied, and your ass is in high school. He's like, oh, it's only a 1 year difference. No, 1 year difference is a lot, because I am not in high school anymore. I'm a grown-ass woman. Like, no, I was very livid. And then he was from my apartment complex, and my father, he was gonna go up there to the apartment. He was like, you want your $20 back? I'll go and get it back from him. Like, my father don't play. I said, no, he's not worth it. He's a little boy who lied about his age, and I'm done with him. And he was so disrespectful too, because I was asking for my $20 back. He was like, I want to doodle on you. I want to pee on you. Like, just, he was a weirdo. Like, he was definitely on the spectrum. And I wouldn't be surprised if he uses women now. Maybe he was just immature back then, but I don't know, But I hope he never, like, played a woman like that again, because that's just stupid. You don't have no money. You don't have a job, and you're going to ask somebody for money. And I trusted him because, I'm thinking he has a job like me. And that was like a little red flag, because I'm like, if you have income, why you need $20? You should be able to. And now that I'm older, I don't do that. I don't. Like with my ex, he borrowed and he always paid me back. But moving forward, like, I don't think that's right for you to be asking people for money. Like, I feel like if you need money as an adult, you should be able to go in a savings account and get money. Like, that's just my opinion. Now, if you live together, then yeah, that's natural, whatever. You share things together, you share bills together, so of course you're going to be sharing money together. But if you don't live with a person, I don't feel like anybody should be asking anybody for money. Going half and half, I feel like that might be the safest thing to do when you're just dating, because nobody wants to feel used, right? So I told y'all the story of the guy who passed away from cancer. I was paying for all the dates. The first date he paid for, but I was paying for all the dates, and I felt used. I felt played. I did, because it's like he didn't want to be in a relationship. He said, oh, it's too soon. But he wanted to be intimate. I'm not gonna sleep. And at the time I was only 21. I said, I'm not gonna sleep with you and I'm paying for all the dates. I felt like, what? Like, who does that? But that's what he obviously was used to. He was used to women with extreme low self-esteem that just spoiled on him. He was another one who asked me for money and didn't waste time to ask me. So her asking the guys for money, I can't blame her, because these men will waste no time to ask you. So I totally get it. Her theory is probably like, well, I'm going to use them before they use me type stuff. And I totally get it. But for me, I just could never do it, because when people ask me for money, it gives off broke. It gives off you're not smart with your finances. And that's what the last dude she dated said that to her. He was like, and he was African. So that's why I didn't understand why she would say something like that. African American men don't provide, when the African man that you said, whatever, he put you in your place and he said, you need to be smart with your finances. Why are you asking me for lunch money? You should have money for yourself. And he's right. Like, why are you asking somebody for lunch money? That's something you should be able to provide for yourself. Go grocery shopping, cook something, and bring it to work. Well, she doesn't work right now, but, if you want lunch, you should be able to cook and eat at home. It's like, or you should just have your own lunch money. That's screaming broke. Like, anytime a man asks me for money, it was a turnoff. Like, I don't want to have, you got to really put yourself in a man's shoes sometimes. If a man is asking you for money, is that going to turn you on? Are you going to want to sleep with him? Probably not. Probably not. You're going to feel like you a bum nigga. Like, why are you asking me for money? Like, what I'm saying? That's just what I'm saying. So how you think he feels you asking him for money? He going to be like, okay, she broke, because why is she... It's the same thing. You know, you want to get treated like an equal, but then when it comes to paying for dates and all of that, then you want a man to do everything. It don't go that way. It just don't go that way. And I think going half and half when you first meet someone, like when I was in Kingsborough, I took a class called Women's Studies. And the professor, she was an older woman. And she said it. She was like, she prefers paying for herself because most men, when they pay for you, they expecting something. They are. They're going to expect sex. They're going to expect a kiss. They're going to expect something. They're human too. So if you're not willing to kiss them or give them butt, it's better to pay for yourself so they don't feel like, oh, you should. And it's all over social media too, where dudes are like, am I coming over? The girl is like, no. So they like, okay, we splitting the bill. And for some women, they might feel like, oh, that's messed up. But you gotta, again, put yourself in his shoes, right? Now, I wanted a relationship after because I felt like, okay, I'm invested in this man. First of all, I went against my mother's rules because you never do that. My mother was like, she's like, I don't care if it's whatever it is. Her theory is a man should pay for everything. That's just her beliefs. My thing is, I don't think it really matters because, you know, at the end of the day, you're in a partnership. And then if a person is paying for everything, they're going to feel like they could control you. That's just human nature. If somebody is paying all the rent, all the groceries, all the, like, say, for example, if you want to go on a diet, right, for whatever reason, but you're not paying for the groceries, somebody else is. They're not going to pick out what you need for your diet because the attitude is, I'm paying for the groceries, so you're not going to tell me to buy fruits and vegetables if that's not what they eat. They're going to buy what they want to eat, truthfully, right? They're not going to, you know, cut down on sweets and ice cream and stuff for you because you're not paying for the groceries, respectfully, right? Right? Or if you're not contributing to the furniture, right? They may feel like your opinion don't matter because you're not paying for it, right? Like with me, I live on my own, and all the furniture I have, I paid for, right? Minus the TV and the TV stand. The TV stand was a gift from my father. The TV was a gift from my ex, right? But everything else I pay for, right? This is my place. If somebody moves in with me and they be like, oh, you need to change it up, I don't like the color blue, I'll be like, well, you need to pay for it because it's human nature, right? I'm just throwing it out there, but it's human nature. When somebody pays for something, they feel like it's theirs. I paid for my furniture, for example. So if I was to have a man move in with me and he's complaining, I would be like, well, you need to pay for something because I done paid for it. It looks nice to me, right? I like my son's favorite color is blue. So that's why I switched it from gray to blue. You know, my dining room table chairs are blue. And my table is marble. This is like the best dining room set I've ever had. And let's say if my significant other have an issue with it, well, then you pay for, you know, first of all, this is not going nowhere. So that would be a big argument, you know, but like my couch or something, well, you need to pay for it because you need to contribute because this is something I paid for. It's just human nature, right? So I feel like if you want to get into that mode of you want him to pay for everything, just know that it's going to be his way. Just know that. Also, beside her channel, I know Ariel. He's the nigga that have people switch phones. That's all staged. Like, there's no way that that's real. But it's very negative, and I unsubscribe from his channel too. And then it's something called hardcore porn. All of a sudden, they putting it on YouTube. I watched it when I was living at home. Me and my dad used to watch it. And it was entertaining. But then now that I'm 35 watching it, it's very negative and it makes black people look really bad. Like, for real. It's a bunch of, half of them don't have their hair done. They look a hot mess. coming in and acting ratchet because the guy is telling them your jewelry is not real. So then they get real upset, right? Like, what do you mean my stuff ain't real? Da-da-da-da-da. Like, you know? And it's like, it's so embarrassing, you know? But that's my message for this new year. The things that you see that's negative, don't be afraid to unsubscribe. Hell, if you think my channel's, you know, whatever is not, if it's not doing it for you, unsubscribe. You know, we're getting too old. And I feel like once you are like 25 and older, you know better. You know, some people, it takes them longer to mature. Like with that girl I was telling y'all about, she's 27 years old. So she's going to be 28 this year. So it's like she's young and she haven't really dated much. So, and that's what made her statement so frustrating, because you yourself said you haven't really dated much. You just started dating 2 years ago. Like, for real. Like, she had experiences with men, sexual experiences, but she never really got to know a man till 2 years ago, when she set the standard for, okay, I'm gonna be going on dates. Dates are supposed to happen naturally. That's my experience, but whatever. To each their own, I guess. And like I said, culturally, I don't know if it's a culture thing, because an African girl I knew, I didn't really know her, but we had a mutual friend and she never went on a date. So I don't know if that's their culture, like they just don't go out on dates, or it's lack of options too, because dudes wasn't asking her out on dates either. And I remember she was saying she never went on a date. But if you get to be 25, 28, late 20s, you never been on a date, you have to look at yourself, ladies. You know, and I had a former friend like that. Like, she went out on dates, but the whole time we was friends, nobody wanted to be in a relationship with her. Like, they didn't even ask. They told her straight up they didn't want no relationship with her. So you have to look at yourself, like, what is it about you that dudes just want to bed you down? Because not all men are like that. Some men are like that, but if it's every dude, nobody wants to be with you. Like, you have to self-reflect. You have to be honest with yourself. Like, what is it about me that, you know? And that's what's wrong with our community. Like, people don't want to look at themselves first. Look at the man in the mirror. Like Michael Jackson said, man in the mirror. Look at yourself. Don't try to put a whole race of men down, because it's not just her who says it. You got people, they grandparents is American, everybody American, they American to the bone, and they talk shit about black men. And I'm tired of hearing it, and I'm here to stand up. Black brother, I love you. I love my black men, and I've had a lot of negative experiences, but I'm not going to let my negative experiences come on my platform and put down black men. I'm not doing that. I'm raising a black man. Hello. So I would never say, oh, black men ain't shit. No. At the end of the day, people make their choices, and we all make choices in life. Do they have their flaws? Yes. But black men do provide for women who they are interested in. And that's just men in general. I could get up on here and talk negative about Hispanic men. I can't do that because I've never been in a full-blown relationship with one. Technically, you know, Jose, he wanted to take me out on a date, but I wasn't available. And then he started stalking me. But I'm not going to say, oh, all Mexican men are stalkers. I'm not going to say that. Or like, you know, one dude took me out on a date. His name was Clemente. He was Dominican. He thought I was Dominican. And when he realized I wasn't, he stopped talking to me. I'm not going to say, well, all of them are racist or prejudiced. That's just my one experience. 2 experiences I had with dudes that was prejudiced. Or 3. Yeah. So, yeah, you can't do that. You can't just say a whole race of men when you've never really been their girl for real. That's not fair. Now, if you've been in relationships with a few guys, then you could be like, yeah. And even then, that's not the whole race of men. And a lot of people do that. Even people that's older than me, they say, oh, you know, white people this. Or they say, oh, they must not be black. Like, people stereotype way too much. Or Caribbean people, they guilty of it too. Oh yeah, Caribbean people, we don't put up with that. Yes, y'all do. Y'all kids talk back to y'all all the time. It's not a race thing. It has to do with parents and parenting skills. No, we don't tolerate this and we don't do that. That's the most ignorant thing you could do. And a lot of older people talk like that. They be like, oh, well, black men this and white men this and they don't do this. And half of the time when they talking about that culture, they don't even know anybody from that culture. Like, you'll have a person that say, oh, you know, in their culture, they control their women. I'm like, so you know somebody from that culture personally, or you at least talk to somebody that's Muslim? Not all Muslims think like that. Not all Muslims have multiple wives. That's not true. But that's my PSA announcement. It's 2025. Stop being ignorant. And let's lift up our black men and not put them down. And those are my thoughts.